It's tabletop time.
I'm Dave, and I'm playing Delvin, our scrappy but lovable merchant.
I'm your narrator for this season, Jazza.
I am Jen, and I'm playing Catalina, the beautiful Denisian woman.
And over here we have Grumpy Cat reincarnated in human form. It's Rob playing the bold and the beautiful Brick, the Phelan cool bodyguard.
Most bold, let's be honest.
But the alliteration
You're all the one.
There was 3 B's in that bad boy.
That was amazing.
I
Well
spent
done.
a second being like, Brick isn't like Grumpy Cat, and then I realized you were introducing me.
Yeah. The real Grumpy Cat all along is Delvin. My brain just is inserting Delvin into every sentence.
I think we're ready to play.
I'm ready to
That's
delve
what that
into
means. Let's do it.
roleplay.
Why don't you delve into your recap of what happened last session?
We traveled into town, and I spun some fast stories and avoided my young companions getting scrutinized on the way through. That was not good.
It was good. I think that there's a bit of depth to go, but I actually think Catalina and Brick have a bit.
Yeah, they are more
to cover
that's
there.
more for them.
Let's go with Brick next, because I think we should save Catalina for last.
I was having a good day until we went to the bar and Catalina destroyed my one precious happy memory.
I forgot about that.
All right, Catalina.
We entered the beautiful town of Glendavale.
Geldavale.
Geldavale. Sorry, my pronunciation of these places are awful. Where we were approached by Reginald, who said that Ainsley had a place for us to stay in the city, and we are to accompany them to dinner. Before dinner, though, Catalina decided that it was finally time for her to share with her companions, who she now decides she trusts enough, a lot of the secrets that she has been holding. This included that her magic ability, the messages she's been receiving from her mother, and the prophecy that has been inkling in the back of her head just a little bit, and she kind of thinks she's going a bit crazy, but it's fine. And I put here in my notes that I don't trust anyone except my friends.
That's nice.
And then we arrived at the room where we would be delivering Medela.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So I think Rob Brick touched on it, but yeah, you for the first time showed the party your magic.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So it's out there amongst you guys now, which is very cool to have out there. Sort of changes things up a little bit. I think things are going to change up a little bit moving forward, just because obviously we're coming to the end of our first leg of the first quest, I guess you could say. But one thing worth pointing out that a lot of you who watched the last stream will have missed out on is there was actually a fairly major moment that I forgot at the end. And actually, we ran it in the after party, which we do on Discord with our patrons every week after our one shot. I remembered, and we're like, okay, guys, this is going to be different to our usual hangout and Q&A. We're going to fix the end of the chapter. So we did like a 15-minute little private session, which was really fun. And for those of you who missed that, go back and watch it. But spoiler alert, basically, Brick had a moment of recognition with the person who was hosting everyone. This is Ainsley. And really excited to show this off too, because it was this portrait was shown off at the end of an almost 2-hour episode, whereas now I get to introduce everyone to Ainsley from the beginning, who is hosting you all for dinner. And that's where we're picking up, where we left off in Ainsley's mansion high in the towers of Geldavale. So, speaking of picking up where we left off, let's jump right into it, beginning with the bustlings and busynesses of everyone preparing dinner. It looks like it's all coming together. But basically, it's like pre-drinks. There's some casual, chill music out in the background. Basically, you can see people are sort of ushering you in and very excitedly sort of ready to play host. And Ainsley sort of beckons you all in welcomingly. There's like a dozen or more people in the room. Most of them are servants. But you recognize a couple of people from your day so far. The one that you mentioned in the recap, whose name is Burger.
I love Burger.
Is this Ainsley's man?
Yeah, Harold.
Harold.
Yeah, cool. Ainsley.
Harold Burger.
That's it. So you've met Harold. And Elise has introduced herself mainly to Medela, who will be sort of taking over her care. Sort of kneels down and sort of gets to know her a little bit, and also acknowledges Brick. Obviously, it seems that she notices that you're both attached, and turns to you both and says, "Would you like me to show you where you'll be staying tonight? Obviously, you've had a long journey. How have things fared for you both?"
This land is unstable. There is lots of conflict right now.
You're absolutely right. Much calmer up in the barrows where I'm from. Medela, would you like to come have a look? We've made it as comfortable and as like home as Ainsley was able to garner from your aunt. And she guides you and says, "You're welcome to come if you like," she says to Brick. And walks you through. There's like a stairway, so she walks you off to there. Meanwhile, in the room, Ainsley welcomes you with enthusiasm.
Are there canapes?
Yes.
Okay.
There are lots of canapes.
Delvin's
There is
got
lots
one
of
in
food.
each hand. But he's also holding a glass. So he's kind of juggling he's got a piece of food and a glass and another piece of food.
The first thing you'll notice with the food is that there are options. It is clear that there are 3 cultures being represented at this feast, including in the canapes and in the drinks. Specifically, there are Barrowan foods, there are Thanisian foods and wines, and there are Phelan foods and wines and drinks.
Well, I've got a Barrowan beer with a Thanisian and a Phelan snack.
The
I've
best
got the
of each. It's
multicultural-
really, like, honestly, it's super clear. You're like, my favorite food of any of those regions, it's there. And to your eyes,
trying.
Catalina, you can see it's like well done. People struggle to get Thanisian wine and foods right, and this is as close as you've seen it in Great L.
This is fantastic.
Delvin is trying them all to a fault.
It seems you're famished after your journey. Welcome, welcome. I am Ainsley. You might have heard of me. Certainly.
Is he sitting or has he walked up to me?
He stands and he sort of...
Delvin, nice to meet you. I offer my hand after just licking like sauce off my fingers.
It's clear immediately that this person does not like being unclean. He takes a deep breath and holds out his hand and shakes it.
Firmly grasp it and shake it up and down in a friendly firmly. But like, just, it's not, I don't let him get away with the little like whimpering short, quick, I'm out. I grasp his hand, shake it vigorously, and then let it go in a very friendly way.
Okay, cool.
But just like blind to his distaste.
Okay. He reserves his distaste, but he shakes your hand back. A pleasure. And as soon as you finish shaking your hand, he grabs a nearby tablecloth for a place that has been set, and as politely and subtly as possible, aggressively starts wiping his hand as he walks towards Catalina and bows. Welcome, Catalina. It's a pleasure to have you here. I trust the journey has been kind to you.
Yeah, the pleasure's all mine. Thank you so much. Your blaze is immaculate. It's beautiful. Do I know much about Ainsley?
You know nothing. Oh, I'm going to, make a general knowledge check.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh,
5. Okay, with 5, I'm going to say you know this man has a reputation in Geldervale. You've travelled through Geldervale before, and he is one of the most well-known nobles in the city, mainly for his wealth. He seems to have one of the widest reputations for his trade, but also his affinity for gambling and horses.
Oh, okay. Right.
But you actually, I should have been a little more lenient on this one for you in particular, because his trade is art. So you pretty much everything you will have dealt with. So now that I think about it, will have been associated through Great L. It will have been connected to him in some way. So you know he's reputed.
Yeah, great. If you don't mind, when you have some time on your hands to spare for me, I have some paintings I'd love for you to just have a look over.
Delightful. I'd be pleased. I prefer nothing more than to look at paintings, but let's save it for after the meal and the entertainment.
he sort of says.
Entertainment.
I have quite the evening prepared for you all to enjoy, as thanks for bringing dear Medela back safely. Let's switch away to the room upstairs with Brick and Elise and Medela. You walk into a room that has been really lovingly prepared. And actually, for Brick's eyes, as close resembling a Phelan child's room as you've seen in a long time, especially outside of Felmore. So I don't know how you'd react emotionally if you're prepared or not, but I would assume you might be impressed given that this is in Grade L. So
I would give an approving kind of,
Medela is delighted, and she does a few little spins around the room and twirls and picks up some of the linens on the floor that have these patterns and silks that resemble her family's, colours. So she's delighted. Elise turns to you and says, "These conflicts you've been facing, I hope they haven't come too close to the girl."
We've done our best to keep her out of it, but we've had an interesting time, especially given the makeup of our group.
Yeah, you do stick out like a sore thumb. Doesn't surprise me at all. Well, I'm sorry to hear if there's been any troubles.
It's nothing we could not handle.
That's Grey Doe for you. They're all a bunch of bricks, really. So, I know, from what I hear, you, Phelan, aren't all that into food, but I believe we've tried to make sure there's something you might be a little more familiar with, because if there's anything I know about you a lot, there's probably not a lot that you've been familiar with in your journey.
It has been an interesting experience.
What have you learned? Anything pleasant? I know you've learned how callous the Graydon and some of these Eastern people can be.
I have a great fondness for crispy bacon.
Aye. So a silver lining then.
Very much so. Eggs I'm not sold on, but crispy bacon, it's nice and salty.
Medela sort of runs back up. She's like, "I'm hungry." Well, that's convenient then, because we've got quite the feast prepared for you all downstairs. You're going to love the entertainment, she says, and leads you downstairs. And things are quietening. The bustling is sort of resolving and centering towards the table now. There is a waiter standing at several seats at an empty seat, holding it out ready for each of you to sit in, including Medela, and Elise is permitted to sit at the table. But it seems like this is based on her assignment. Otherwise, she probably wouldn't be invited. And Ainsley beckons you all to sit down, sort of, claps and for a hush in the room. There's some Thinissian entertainers in the room that have been just doing some subtle harping that sort of dies down. And he welcomes you all to sit.
Delvin takes, I'm assuming it's like a set table setting.
Oh, it's a banquet feast thing. It's got the whole...
Are the plates clean or loaded, or is it set up?
They're clean.
Yeah,
they're for you to load your own.
Delvin brings an extra plate that he's been eating canapes on and sits in a chair and puts the plate on top of the setting. Once again, with complete disregard to any kind of order of business or anything. And then goes, "Oi, Delvin, I've said, that's every time my brain just says, I've got a brain parasite."
This man is talking to himself.
He says, "Oi, Brick."
Too much about the
Does Brick come
missing
down the
wine.
stairs?
Yeah, they come down there.
Brick, come sit next to me, mate. Come on. And I pat the chair next to me.
Yeah, I think so.
Cool. Ainsley holds up a glass and ding, ding, dings it with his spoon. "I would like to welcome you all to my abode and begin the evening's proceedings with thank you from the bottom of my heart for bringing dear Medela to us so that we can bring her to her aunt and to safety and, of course, bring more peace to these lands. Long have I desired to build connections and the good of the East to the west of Felmore. Long have those in the East in ruling positions made that quite difficult, and with recent tragedies, I'm saddened to say a lot of the progress that we've made as far as connecting with our Phelan friends has been tarnished. But with our work together, I believe we can restore some of this peace if we embrace where we are all from and bring each of us the piece of ourselves that makes the world and the tapestry of it a little more special. So I would like to dedicate this evening's proceedings to our future work together. Enjoy. The evening's proceedings begin. The lights somehow dim. And some Phelan music begins, where the two Phelan cool soldiers standing by the door by this stage had centered themselves in an area that seems to be arranged to be a little bit more of an open space on the stage. And two other Phelan dancers come out, and the two soldiers start doing a kata, a traditional warrior's dance for their soldier preparation. Now it's clear, especially to Brick, that this isn't a dance, but the way that it is done with such ferocity and precision, and the way the beautiful male and female Phelan dancers around them work in choreography with their motions, it really is a side of fearsome beauty. The way they're all dressed with the traditional Phelan clothes, and even the sense of the room are sort of shifted to this. And you can, if you look behind you or around you, you can tell that some incense was sort of burnt to just sort of enhance this. And Ainsley's sort of sitting back and just, he picks up with each stage, as you'll see, picks up something, whether it be a piece of food and a drink from that region, and just seems to relish being transported. And every now and then just sort of glints his eyes across at you all, particularly in this case, Brick and Medela, with a sort of inspection of how you're responding. How are you responding?
I would like to be very keenly watching the two Phalanx going through their kata. I would like to perceive if they're doing well.
I would like you to make the role you would make doing a kata as your perception.
With perception or my...
No, so your
My
actual
combat,
fighting, your combat role.
That's without a weapon. Wow. That
3
was bad.
successes.
3. Okay, not great. I'm going to say they're doing a level above what you actually
Bastards.
understand. Yeah, they are, you know enough to know that they are very good, but it's actually like the level of skill it takes, you don't quite know, because it's clear to you that their level of training was more in the Royal Guard.
Yeah.
So these are very, at least esteemed soldiers.
Yep.
Medela is clapping uproariously and seems like, and you see just the glint of tears down her cheeks as she feels transported back to home and experiences this with great joy. And this goes on, for a good 15 minutes or so.
Oi, Cat.
Yes.
Cat.
Yes.
What's the odds they take their kit off?
I don't believe this is that sort of dance.
I don't know anything about the Phelan.
Well, I mean, I know very little as well, but I think that they're probably going to keep their clothes on.
All right. I'm going to go back for the canapes.
Am I sitting anywhere near Ainsley?
I'd say everything's quite spread out.
Okay.
So I think, you would need to project to be heard, especially over the music.
That's okay. I'm going to whisper back to you, or talk back to you, and say that he has quite a strong interest in Phelan culture.
I've got quite a strong interest in the canapes. And I just eye the food.
Yes, okay.
I mean, the dancing's fine and all, but look at it.
Look at what?
Taste it. And I go and push a plate in front of Catalina.
It has meat on it.
And there's a moment, there's an actual glint of madness in Delvin's eyes, like someone who has been in the desert and then has found water. This is beyond. Yeah, he just has that look,
I am happy.
almost
for you.
desperation.
I'm glad that you're at peace.
Seeing you talking, Medela reaches over holding a little plate, and on it has some interesting dried sugared cakes, and there's also some like a drakau meatball in the middle of the table. When I say drakau, it's like a young drakau, so it's like the equivalent of venison, and the way it's prepared is inside the drakau itself, so the meat is cooked within the drakau. It's very traditional. It sounds awful, but it looks pretty impressive, except for maybe to Catalina, because it looks like an animal. But around the rest of the table, there's a section with a variety of fruit, vegetables, dips, olives, grapes, and cheeses that to you look pretty impressive and remind you of home. But then to Delvin, as the music and the dance and the festivities of Felmore come to an end, Ainsley stands and, sort of indicates
wonderful
a clap.
job. Yes, lovely.
Wonderful, wonderful. Now, thank you very much to our kind entertainers. Next, let's enjoy the calming and close festive music and traditions from the barrows themselves.
Oh, I didn't know I'd be put on the spot. And Delvin starts to push his chair out and stand up.
Elise gets up from her seat because this was her cue as Ainsley sits. And she goes, "You can if you want." And she walks up to the front and two other people start playing. And she pulls out a flute and starts playing it at the front with like a tambourine on her leg. She attaches to it, like starts kicking. And a couple of the players start playing this sort of like fireside tune that people would sort of, with an upbeat tempo, dance to, or with a more chill tune, sort of put their kids to sleep to. But it's a very traditional Barrowan tune. How does Delvin feel about that?
What role would I have to make to get involved?
I'd say some sort of performance check. So I guess depends on how you want to get involved. It would be like an artist profession or something.
I'm gonna D20 this.
I just really
As far
wanted
as
to
like
get
what
up
your
and
impulse
start
is?
doing, like, a
Whether I
morning
know
tune
the
or
jig,
something.
whether I
Okay.
have experienced it. So hi.
You're familiar with this. This
So
is
I would like to, if you'll let me, I'd like to roll infiltration to sidle in with the dancer and just like copy their moves.
Yeah.
And just copy them and just make it look like I'm meant to be there.
okay. All right, go for it.
What's the challenge
Challenge
level?
level 3. It's a specialty dance. It's a traditional piece.
Infiltrating your way in. Ooh.
4 successes.
Got it. And up you step and smoothly in with a flow of proceedings. And Elise just sort of like nods and smiles, just like starts clapping as she plays. She's whistling, so she can't do much dancing. But Medela jumps up and she's
Hey!
caught up in the festivities and she grabs you by the hand and says, "Show me this one. I've never heard your people's music before."
I would like to guide her as best as Delvin can to dance with him.
I'm going to give Medela a roll. I'm just going to give her a base 3 with a challenge level 2 to see how she keeps up.
Aw.
She
Awfully.
struggles. She
stands
steps
on
on her
your
toes.
babies.
She is so used to being composed and standing, reservedly that she looks very awkward and is blushing nonstop, but she's trying.
As she fumbles a few times, Delvin slowly gets in with the bit of the dance, and then he says, "Here, stand on me feet."
Okay.
And then I basically do the jig with her on my feet and try and make her emulate it and make her look good. And 100% of the time, take every hit of self-confidence. Like anytime it looks like she fumble twice as hard to make her not embarrassed and not sad about making mistakes.
It's clear to those watching that the attitudes that Delvin has in terms of, getting involved and playing silly with kids and looking foolish and all this stuff is a very Barrowan thing as far as just making play out of trying, failing, but also, giving it a go. And this is a real picture of Barrowan culture of rolling up your sleeves and getting involved and giving it a go. And everyone's sort of feeling the spirit of that. And you can see Ainsley in the corner enjoying some bat stew. And there's like
It's the tourist thing. It's the
totally
tourist
is.
thing.
Yep.
If they knew what we actually want to eat in the
That's
barrels, it ain't bat stew.
These are like the delicacies of so while that is true, there are varieties in which these things can be prepared, and you can tell that the herbs and the way that these things are available, potatoes, and though everything is pickled, the way these things are pickled and brewed and all this stuff are actually just finely balanced in their flavors. And the dance comes to an end after, a good 15-20 minutes, and Ainsley stands up and cheers. He's pink with delight. And Medela's
I clap
just
the other dancers.
sweating and just throws her arms around you and says, "Thank you so much, Delvin. That was great fun."
There's a brief moment of awkwardness, and then I hug her back and pat her. And then in that moment of closeness, while people are still clapping and quietly, I say, See, I told you happiness doesn't end just from one journey. You'll keep finding it, kid. And then I step away before she has a chance to...
As you go to step away, you feel there's resistance. She's holding tight. And then eventually she lets go. But before she lets go, and while you're close, she says, I shall miss you, Delvin.
I'll see you again, Medela.
I
promise.
And moments later, we hear some traditional, fine, celebratory Thanisian music. I'm going to get you to make one of your performance checks. Oh, maybe not your performance check. Do your trade vocation check, your arts one.
Yep.
Just to sort of see what you observe.
Who's playing the
in terms of performance.
Thanisians?
There are two Thanisian male performers that were sort of playing background music before.
You're on fire today.
4. Good roll. You notice not only are these quite highly reputed performers by how they're dressed and how they hold themselves. It's clear that they've been travelled to this event. But the instruments themselves are quite impressive.
Okay.
Ainsley sort of leans over towards Delvin and says, as much as I admire the incredible musicianship of the Thanisians, some of their finest instruments are of Baron design.
Some of the finest everything's of Baron design.
He chuckles. Indeed.
He's Baron descent, right? Or was he not? Is your
You don't know.
Okay,
cool. You could roll to sort of see if you...
general knowledge?
Yeah, just go general knowledge check.
Okay. I'm curious about this boy. Challenge level?
For something that specific, 4.
2. No.
You don't know. He's adorned in everything as well. And this goes on for another 15, 20 minutes. Some glorious music. In fact, obviously, Thanisia being quite known for their music and culture. Until eventually at the end of this, the feast proceeds and Ainsley claps and some more waiters come out and sort of collect plates and bring out some more and,
Dang.
serve things, top people's drinks up. And people sort of get chatting and eating away. So I'm just going to let a little bit of time pass so people can, get a bit of food and water into them. Yeah, what are you tucking into, Brick?
The cow.
Someone did say,
dry cow, sorry.
well, at least did say that she had food here that would be suitable for my kind. So I'm hoping to find
on the
like
table near you is a great big bowl of grapishka.
Kropishka.
And grapishka is the soldier's food reserved for well-performing soldiers, which is like a charred meat that stores over a long time, well salted and has some herbs in it, and is sort of ingrained with honey. So the sweetness and the sugars and the way that this is all cooked, it's not very desirable food for anyone else, but I think the reward incentives that you've learned through having been raised a soldier, this was a rare food and only for the honored.
Delvin, you've made me try your food. Now, I beg you, try Grupishka.
I'd be honored to try Caprishka.
Gruprishka.
Caprishka.
What is it?
Looks bloody delicious.
It is good. Would you like some?
I'll pass, thank you.
Now, you've underestimated me in the assumption that I'm not going to like dry meat, because I can tell you, and I look down at like some jerky in my pocket. I'm quite fond of it. And you're pretty sure in that moment that jerky was not at this feast, and that Delvin, despite being at a feast, may have also been snacking on some pocket jerky. Yeah, I'd like to try Caprishka.
Gruprishka.
Caprishka.
Delvin's going to eat grapishka? Medela says, like, covering her mouth, like,
What's this food for? Does it have some meaning, Medela?
oh,
It makes a man strong.
there's nothing wrong with it. I've just never heard of anyone but a Phelan tolerating grapishka.
I'll tolerate it. Let's go. I'm gonna love it. I can tell. If Brick likes it, I'm gonna like it. Come on, mate. Give me your best bit of Caprishka.
I serve him his Kropishka.
All right.
Yep. It's
I'm gonna throw this at you, an endurance check.
For your team.
that's a good idea.
Just base it on
For your teeth.
3 successes.
Hey!
Oh, you got 3.
3.
Okay, cool. I'd say if you got 1 or less, you wouldn't be able to stomach it comfortably. It's not like there's nothing wrong with it. It's just kind of halfway between charcoal and jerky.
Can I boldly say I've eaten worse? In the cave floor of the barrows?
Yeah.
Like
From your child.
rotten meat
Yeah,
and
yeah.
stuff?
Yeah.
Like, I've had...
You've got a hearty stomach.
I'd
Like,
rather have to chew for 5 minutes than eat bat shit.
Yeah.
What do you mean you've had the worst? This is amazing.
Listen, once you get past the crunch and the... You know, after every bite and every chew... Kat, are you going to try some?
No, I'm fine.
After every chew, you kind of... Do you do that thing where you run your tongue around your teeth and just check they're all still there? That's part of it, right? It's part of it. Anyway, it's quite nice after that.
It is the food of champions.
Well, what else exemplifies me? Food.
You all seem to have developed a rather strong bond after a week's journey together. Have you met before?
3 weeks with this one, mate. Not a week for me.
We did do some journeying prior to picking up Medela.
I see. And Catalina, had you met these gentlemen before?
No, I am new to the group, you could say.
Ah, well, I see the bonds of trust grow strong with travel. And Medela, oh dear Medela. And you can see looking across like her, she's like drifting, she's like tired. And she like sits up. She's like, I'm fine. Yes, these are now my closest friends. I've never thought as dearly about anyone outside of my family as I have this group. Well, that brings me such great joy to hear. Again, and I have said this before, but thank you all for keeping dear Medela safe. Medela, you seem tired. Would you like to rest? I think that might be best, she says, sort of like rubbing her eyes. So Elise sort of stands up and says, and off to the side, what's his name again? Harold. Harold says, well, Tats will take you off to bed. And Ainsley says, don't call her that. What? Nothing wrong with that, says Elise. Ainsley sighs and says, this was a nickname before she came to us, was Tatters. And I think Elise is a little more palatable. Don't you think, Elise? Yes, sir, says Elise. And she like leans down and looks at Medela and says, but you can call me Tats, and winks. All right, would you want to say goodnight to anyone? And Medela sort of turns to you all and walks up to Brick first and throws her arms around him. Thank you so much, Brick, for keeping me safe and becoming my friend. I shall never forget you.
It was a pleasure.
It was a pleasure, and I will never forget you.
She reaches up on her tiptoes and gives you a little kiss on the cheek.
Fuck, she's tall.
You're sitting down, I'm assuming, at the table.
Her neck stretches like a giraffe.
She then walks up to Catalina and says, Catalina, it was such a pleasure. And she sort of leans in and whispers, says, I shall hold your song in my heart for the rest of my life. Thank you dearly. She throws her arms around you.
I'll go back and give her a smile and say, I look forward to seeing you again one day when you're the strong, confident woman in your home country.
And she sits back and says, I should hope to return to my home country, but even if not, I have learned that there are wonderful, strong, confident women all over the place. She smiles and then walks up to Delvin.
I stand up out of my chair and say, I'll at least walk you to the door.
Okay.
And then I walk with her towards the exit with Tats.
Yep.
Tat. Elise.
Follows along and, you get to the doorway. Sort of the banquet doors are sort of, the guards are still on either side.
Mm-hmm. I let it open, assuming they're going to open it, and kind of follow through a few steps just out of the room and then stop.
Yep.
Out of sight of the rest of the group.
Yep.
And kneel down and look at Medela. And then I say, I've got something for you, Medela, but don't let on to the others that I got it.
What is that?
Well, I didn't want your memory of my hometown to be, well, a horrible one. And I know you got a taste for food in the way that I do. So when I heard what happened over the stew, I use my best contacts. You see, people who steal, sell it quick. And people who sell it quick, sell to a buyer. And then from within my jacket, I pull out her Phelan jewelry that was taken as ransom by the guy with the knife and hand it back to her.
And she looks like confused at first. She doesn't recognize it. And then, like, realizing that that's what happened, it's like, wow, how did you get this? You bought it from whoever he sold it to.
There's only one jeweler in my hometown.
Wow. It's strange to me that this piece wasn't even particularly important to me. Not one of our valuables, I guess you should say. It's a different... value is perceived differently with the things that we value in Felmore, and I guess the golds that we have always been treasured by those over here, but I feel like I'm going to treasure this a lot more now.
I have a feeling you'll probably treasure all of what you got now a bit more. Because no matter where you buy, whatever you buy in the future and adorn yourself with, well, that'll be the last set that you had when, well, Felton happened.
Thank you, Dalen. Delvin. Who's Dalen?
We can't say Delvin is a cursed word tonight.
Thank you, Dazza.
Thank you, Dad. Thank you, adopted father.
And she hugs you.
I hug her back.
While you're kneeling down. Mm-hmm. I might, just given this proximity and where you are, so you're sort of like hugging around her shoulders, I would invite you to make a 1 dice roll. Comes with the risk of losing. Okay, so you don't lose
Invite
anything.
taken.
But you, as you hug, feel a warmth in your chest that you actually recognize as a feeling that you felt before associated with this recognition of magic. It's an ember. It's something small as you hug her.
I'll see you again, Medela.
Goodbye, Delvin. And she yawns and holds Elisa's hand and walks off to bed. And you enter
Walk back into the room.
Great. And the evening proceeds. A very comfortable evening. Things are a little bit quieter now. Obviously, it was a very robust performance and large dinner, and slowly things are swapped out from dinner to dessert, where everyone gets to enjoy the cultural desserts of different places. And Ainsley turns to you all and says, I would love to hear more about your journey. If this is the last time we have to talk about how you got Medela here before we move on to further proceedings, I'd be interested to know how things proceeded for you, good and bad. What did you learn or gather?
Well, I got some splinters.
How much do I trust Ainsley?
How much do you trust Ainsley?
That's up to you. How much do you trust Ainsley? I ask you.
How much do you trust Ainsley?
How much do you trust Ainsley?
Well, before I answer your question, I have one for you.
Me or?
No, Ainsley.
Okay.
This initiative that you have going with all these different cultures and people, what inspired this?
I garner joy from what I was born to garner joy from. I think all of us have things that we are wired to feel and excel in. It is the magic of art and beauty that ignites me. And collecting these things brings great wealth and joy to me. What about you, Catalina? What ignites you?
I'd say fire.
And
What?
why would that be?
Well, what? You're not going to combust under other circumstances, are you?
What?
He's talking about what would make you burn. What?
Anyway.
What?
No, I just like swirl my glass of wine and say, I enjoy a wonderful fine Thanisian wine and company with good friends.
Delightful.
And a word from my mother every now and then, I suppose.
And how is she?
As fine as a woman can be under the rule of IRONSPIRE.
What about you, Rick? You seem more invested in the social interactions than some other Phalancool I've met, and are treated with much more equality than I've observed a Phalancool be treated with. I find this very interesting. Surely you must have some observations.
Perhaps one caused the other.
How do you mean?
Well, I'm only failing to believe we're treated equally and shown friendship and companionship.
I see. His eyes flickered to the Phalancool standing at the door and back. And then he turns to Delvin. Delvin, ever the joker.
What?
What fires you up? What are you passionate about? Passion, of course, is the thing that takes us all over the ends of the earth and propels civilization and art to new heights. What is Delvin's fire?
Delvin, realizes he's suddenly in the midst of some kind of serious philosophical conversation, leans back and takes his lobster bib off and just, folds it on his lap. It's covered in sauce. Food's pretty good, but, I guess if you really pushed my buttons, I'd say I love making money.
And I thought you were going to say women. There you go.
Oh, I don't love what don't love me back. That's stupid.
A very wise choice. Well, perhaps as our evening quietens down and before we proceed to discuss our future collaborations, it might be nice to share a little more. Let me share with you what lights me up. Come with me. I would like you to see my gallery. I work very hard on my collection, and I think you'll be inspired by what I have to show you.
Delightful.
Lean into Catalina. What are the odds the art's got no kid on?
Oh, it's just going to be paintings of him, isn't it? In various positions and various clothes. At least that's what I'm expecting.
Really?
Yeah. He seems very self-indulgent.
Okay, well, let's go see it. I want to see these weird paintings.
And he stands up and, the guards follow. A couple of the waiters step aside while a few sort of come in to sort of help guide you to, for the appropriate room size. So you go through the hallway, quite large, still very large. One could walk out with their arms outstretched twice against each other and still not reach either end of the hallway until he reaches the end room with these large oak double doors that he opens up into a tall ceilinged room that feels a little bit like a museum with things lining the walls, paintings and artworks. I'm going to get you to make that check again, Catalina. Mm-hmm. Your art trader check. 3. It's not all that difficult to recognize that this is the room that if someone were to rob would be the one to target. There are actually a few famous pieces in here from all walks. Most of the Thanisian ones you recognize. There are actually a couple of fairly ancient looking Barrowan contraptions in glass sort of plinths. And Ainsley sort of gives you the tour and shows you some of his favorites. Then eventually signals to Brick, you're going to love this one. This is actually, and I don't say this lightly, my most prized possession. And he signals up to the wall This is a coldish pick, made entirely of coldish steel. This, in its original condition, and with this amount of coldish steel, the most valuable resource known to Sunderlands, could buy most of this city. And I'm going to get you to make a general knowledge check. I'm going to say challenge level 3. You don't have general knowledge. You have 2. Okay. And you got
That's
2
the
ones.
most fail you can fail.
You have no idea what it is. You've
Looks
never
cool.
seen it before. It looked.
What do you do with it?
You've never. Well,
I believe you
wouldn't
pick
blame
your teeth with it. I'm just kidding.
It's huge. It's like over 2 meters wide. It's mounted on the wall.
From what he says, I think you steal it and sell it.
It looks heavy, Delvin. I don't think you could carry it.
That's what you're here for, right?
I am not a thief.
I had to have this wall reinforced from the inside of the building out just to hold this item up. I'd be very surprised if anyone here could carry it. In fact, it took 8 strong men to mount it on the wall.
Ain't it a cultish pick, though?
A cold is a little different to a Phelan coal. You'll forgive me, my correction.
They get bigger.
Oh, dear me. Yes, the cold beasts in the mountain, very different to the Phelan coal, a much more refined outcome. The coldish are, by every definition, monsters. 2.5 meters tall sometimes, beasting. Their roars can be heard for miles, the clicking of the tongues by which they communicate. They have savage rituals. Tearing of the bottom of the jaw, the skin off, so that the teeth are bared, and if they survive this and the cutting out of the tongue without any complaint, then they are allowed to live, for they are deemed strong. And only a strong, coldish warrior can bear this pick. I say warrior. A warrior by our definition. The only thing they value is their mining, and the pick is the thing they use to mine the mountains and obtain more of this steel. Fascinating culture to learn about. At least these are the reportings and the different things that I've been able to gather in archive. Quite rare findings, even from an information standard, you will understand, he says, indicating Catalina.
Yes. How did you acquire such a wonderful piece?
Oh, well, they don't call me the dealer for nothing. I always get what I want, he says, with a knowing gaze.
I drink my wine.
Now, you said you had some paintings you wanted me to look at. He sort of says with a sly smile, like, after having shown you his
Giant pick. Yes, if you would spare me the kindness, that would be wonderful. I pull them out. I'm assuming there's a nice table or something nearby that he can have a look at them. on.
Yep. And you roll them out?
Yep.
Cool. And these are the 3 paintings that you brought out. I fail to see what you're showing me, if anything other than tarnished artworks. Why would you do this? Make a roll. A art valuation roll.
We already know they're counterfeits.
What's the challenge of them?
2.
Oh.
You're looking at the originals.
I've got the original.
You cut and rolled original priceless Thanisian artwork.
We did. We had them in the frames. And we couldn't carry the frames.
Yeah, but we already
Yeah.
checked that they were not original.
Whoever checked them may have not been done.
And they weren't
It was
original.
you.
You checked them, and they were forged.
Okay.
But even some of the strokes you recognised that marked them as forgeries aren't there. These are originals. Why would you do this to priceless Thanisian artworks?
I mean, they've just been removed from the frame. I'm sure you can remount them.
I think you know better than to believe that.
Well, I'm pretty damn certain you can. I know a thing or two about art myself, and that's how you. I think you're being a bit taken aback, Mister, but I'm sure you can remount them. It's how it works. Anyway, it's a good thing we did.
Did what?
Took them out of the frames
Why is that?
because they were gonna get burnt up in Felton.
Interesting. You, Delvin, there's a piece here I think you might appreciate. And he beckons you over and shows you on the wall. It's a subtle, sort of more less obvious corner of this room. There's a small painting, landscape. The southeastern view, far across to the seas, you can see the IRONSPIRE from the view of the Barrowan Mountains in the piece, which you recognise as having been painted by your mother.
Delvin's face just like the complete like visage of all smirking chill just drops, and he's just like, "What have you got this for?"
I'm a collector. I see value where others might not. Do you recognise the artist?
Oh, I do, and you know I do. You've done your research, mate.
I always do my research.
Good to see my mom's works in fine company.
And well taken care of. There is one last item, one you might be quite interested in. A final edition and the latest to my collection. He clicks his fingers and enters from a door on the outside wing. Someone wearing a mask. There are now, you're aware of, there's like 6 people in the room, including the 2 Phalancal guards. And the tone of the room has shifted. It's quite clear.
Oh, no.
And he's carrying a bag. And this masked person holding the bag up pulls the edges down. Mm-hmm. And in it, you see Edgar's head. Delvin's employer.
I dropped my wine.
Now, to the conversation we're going to have about how we are going to work together moving forward. I'm excited for the ways in which we can collaborate. I see your festive jokes seem to be drying up rapidly, young Delvin. You're aware at this point that the the Phalancal guards are right beside him. And
When did they make that approach?
the guards? Probably but when it's not like a threatening, it was just sort of the stance. But the masked person who enters from the side of the room was like from the opposite side. Mm-hmm. All of a sudden, as this is happening, all of you feel immediately very lightheaded and dizzy.
Oh,
All 3 of you.
Can we make it endurance checks?
You can each make an endurance check, yes. And this will stand for the evening. This is your endurance check.
no. Do we need to just pass? Yeah.
Pardon? Challenge level 5. And anything above 5 will affect what's happening.
Yeah, I'm guessing it's like scaling negative modifiers.
Good
but-
thing I got that minus away from endurance.
So
3
what
from
would it mean if
Delvin.
we got 5?
It would mean that I would say if you achieved 5, then challenge level 5. Okay, if you achieved 5, that lightheadedness wouldn't apply.
So it's like a scale, kind of, like how conscious we're gonna be.
Yeah.
Woo!
This isn't like an unconscious.
Oh shit!
I should make it apparent. Like you're not going to black out now. Like you're not falling unconscious.
But you're feeling something.
But you feel
Affected.
All right.
I am spending 1 destiny to be only mildly affected with 4 successes.
Oh.
I would say, what did you get? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Interesting. All right. So I would say don't waste your destiny point because it would be a 5 to...
Or nothing.
Or nothing, yeah.
Okay.
And this is basically what I'm saying is the equivalent of a -1.
Yep. Okay.
Okay.
And as soon as this happens, Ainsley recognizes both of your reaction and a lack in bricks. Whereupon you feel lightheaded. Because what has...
He wants you out.
No, he actually double takes. So he does this and both of you sort of like...
Detect magic.
Catalina and Delvin. Yeah, you can roll your dice. Okay, so you spend your mana. Okay. And what you recognize is that all of a sudden, now that you're becoming aware of it, he was holding you in a state of sharpness that he simply let go of. Now, when he did that with Brick, it didn't seem to work so much. So he imposed a lacking of sharpness, a cloudiness of state. So it's clear to you that you've all been fed some sort of sedative that he's basically using to enhance. From what you recognize, you've identified that he can sharpen or reduce people's faculties, and he's done both of that at this moment in time. So all of you have -1 to all rolls, but this is more of a move to make you all aware of the person in power in this room.
Can I read his emotions? Although I'm pretty sure I know what they are.
You're welcome to read his emotions.
He's very turned on.
Oh no, that's a 5 and a 5.
I am so powerful.
You read in Ainsley. Calm and a slight thrill. There's not a lot there emotionally.
So no murder? He's not... Murder
You don't
It
feel...
was sociopaths don't
You
feel
don't
anything.
feel ill intent. You don't sense anything that you have sensed before as threatening.
Okay, all right.
So you believe he wants to talk, but he wants to make clear his position above you.
Sure. All right. As long as it's not going to kill me, that's kind of all I wanted to just clarify.
Now, I would like to simply have a discussion with you on how we can work together, but I need to ensure you will be willing and cooperative as we do so. Because as you might imagine, some of these things may feel challenging to you. Not only what I might need help with, but also what I already know.
Yes, you in the front.
But why did you have to murder him?
Well, how else would you know? I'm incredibly serious. Now, if there's anything I've learned in my wealth of experience, it's that a deal needs to be accompanied by the proper motivation.
Dealer, this is the weirdest fucking promotion I've ever had.
I'm glad you see it with a silver lining. That sort of attitude will take you far. I'll cut to the chase. I want something. That something has several forms, and I, unfortunately, need your help to get it. So I am ensuring that you're willing and understand I am serious. But I will give you several choices. The first, the item you, Delvin, and Brick initially traded, the thing in that locked, valuable crate, is now of interest to me. It is a very old and valuable scepter from Felmore, and it has fallen into hands that I would prefer would be my own. Were you to return it to me, I would consider us all in good favor with each other and happily let you all walk wealthier than you could dream. And debt-free, of course. The second option is if the hands that had this scepter were no longer a threat to me, if the mother, as she is called, were assassinated, then I would also be appeased. Now, Catalina, I am to believe, if my informants are correct, and they always are, that you very recently met with someone by the name of Melba. And given that you left in one piece, I can deduce a few things. One, they want to meet with you. Particularly the mother wants to work with you. And two, you have access to some sort of power. So the third option entails two things. One, Catalina, you show me and give me that source of your power. And Delvin, you rectify the trade that you made, that you betrayed. I have asked you in the past to acquire me something that contains power. And whether knowingly or unknowingly, you accomplished this trade and did not deliver me what I required. And so, I would have you return or reconsider your situation to make sure that what it was supposed to be ends up in my hands, along with the power in your hands, Catalina. They are your choices. Now, let me be clear. If you do not provide me with one of these three things 7 days from now, then Delvin, I would be very concerned for the safety of your dear mother. Catalina, you will never see your father again. And Brick, let's just say Medela may not be guaranteed a safe journey if I don't have your cooperation. Now, I of course trust that I would have your cooperation, Brick, as you are officially my property now.
I believe that on my master's death, my ownership transferred to his partner.
Indeed. And I have made arrangements with this partner that, for the trade of her beloved niece, you would be an item provided to me. In fact, and he clicks, and some papers are brought forward of a transfer of ownership and presented to you. And he says, I don't know if you can read or not, but this backs up what I'm saying. And he turns to Delvin and says, I know you have expressed interest in this strapping lad here being your own bodyguard. I would be open to this, providing him to you, if my trade is honored. This is the deal I offer. It is either accepted or rejected, but I have laid down the terms of its rejection.
Well, I've got a problem with it. And the problem is that you have so far established yourself to break every single rule that there is already. So, as far as I see it, we're already dead. Because I've made a trade in fair conduct with you today. I've brought you Medela, and my payment is poisoning and punishment. So you've broken your compact already. Why would we trust you ever again?
He smiles and he says, sometimes one deal leads to another, but
That's not how it works.
I can tell you with a surety that that is how this will work with me.
I'm going to roll a persuasion. I'm going to assist his persuasion.
You made it worse.
He burns 1 mana and he gets... No, this was a different kind of roll. Yeah. And he gets +1. Two, three, four, 5. So that's his persuasion check to make sure you believe he's being honourable.
That was...
It was 1, 2, 3, 4.
It was 4.
Yeah.
I'm going to burn a destiny.
Okay.
To meet 5, so I don't come under the effect of whatever the hell he's doing to me.
Okay.
So I don't buy it, right?
Well, it is interesting because you've used your mana. So as far as not coming under the effect, that would require magic. As far as the persuasion, meeting his thing, like you may decide not to act upon believing it, but you feel quite compelled to.
But I logically know that magic is real and
you
that he's
pull
using
yourself
it.
out of it. Yeah. You are
So I feel
aware of it.
affected,
Yes.
but I'm going to burn the destiny. So I feel affected, but I'm aware that he has manipulated me.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. 100% happy to allow that.
And I just look at him straight away, and so you resort to magic to try and make your deal done.
What a silly thing to look down upon, as if to trade with money or position is any different.
No, you just trade with blood instead. Also, you're a liar. My father's dead.
I think you might find that can be proven otherwise.
And why the fuck should I believe you?
He looks at you square in the eyes and says,
I can verify this soon if you'd like, but I can promise you I'm a man of truth. And your father, Alistair, I believe his name is, he's looking a little thinner these days after spending some time in the forests to the south. I believe his ship was boarded and he and many others were taken hostage some time ago. You must have been very young. You must miss him dearly.
A story that everyone knows. You've proven nothing.
I'm going to roll. This is a persuasion check. Okay. So get my rice again. Not my rice.
Get my rice.
2. Okay. So this is a persuasion check. 1, 2, 3, plus 2. So 5. To persuade you that your father is alive and he has access to him or has him.
So do I roll persuade?
You can roll perception. Yeah.
David is just fucking fuming right now.
1, 2, 3. Yeah, that's fine.
You 100% know he has your father all of a sudden. And this is like the first time in your life you would, ever since upon finding out upon his tragic death, that the idea of him being alive is a possibility. Okay. But if it is a possibility, it would be if this man were or were connected to the Watchers.
Okay.
So it sort of checks out because with the idea that this man might be.
I know that in my heart of hearts, but I still want to play straight face.
Yeah.
Completely.
Okay. Cool. So you'll be rolling deception if you act otherwise. Yep.
Sure. I won't say anything else.
Okay.
Oh, I don't want to drag on this evening's proceedings longer than they need to be.
He starts sort of stepping back graciously.
But when you go out, do keep in mind that I'm always here and my door is always open for a chat. After, of course, our trade is initiated and executed in an admirable way. So, 7 days. Meet me here. 1 of 3 things. And then I will happily be your advocate for the rest of time. I hope you've enjoyed this evening's proceedings.
Whereupon he clicks his fingers, and the as he walks back, the two guards stand between you all and him, and he just casually walks out of the room. I'm going to say...
I follow him.
Hold up. As he walks out of the room, he lets go of whatever it is he was holding onto magically. And the sedative kicks in. You don't fall unconscious, but I'm going to say you have, both of you, -2 to all of your rolls. Brick. What do you do?
I follow him.
There are 2 Phalanx guards standing directly in front of you.
Cool.
They step in front of you, between you and him.
He's my owner. I'm not trying to attack him.
Do you say, what do you say? Sorry, I should say one of their Phalanx turns to you and says,
Halt. You are not allowed to proceed.
Where does he want me?
You make a fair question.
the Phalanx turns around.
Ah, yes.
That's unlike me to leave a loose end. He turns around and says,
Brick, though you are my property, I command you to accompany Delvin for the next 7 days. Follow his commands, should they be amiable to me, to keep me and mine safe and out of harm's way. Do not act against me or anyone known to be working with me in any way, shape, or form, and do every effort and endeavor to accomplish this trade to its fullest and enable my receipt of one of those 3 options. If you do this faithfully, you shall then be granted as property to Delvin. And I would be joyous to do so. Truly, he says. Good evening, friends. Whereupon he exits the room.
God, the way he treats y'all like pets makes me sick. Look at you 2 big lugs doing everything he fucking says. You got no backbone.
You will leave now.
8 foot tall and no backbone. That's fucking fascinating.
Said the Phalanx call it said that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Don't mind if I just go and like go to grab a painting on the thing. I'm in the middle of the room. They're standing at the door.
No, they're standing right
pushed us out.
next
walked
to
out the
you.
door.
Yeah.
They were with
So
us.
that you're...
Oh, we all went
fronted.
out the door. It was like a one exit, one entry room.
Oh, no, it's a separate door. It's like off to a different chamber, but it's clear that it's all locked. So there is
So aren't we
only,
still in
there's
the
only
art room?
one. Yeah, and there's one way out, and the open double doors are still there.
And the
open.
guards are in front of the door.
No, the guards
No,
are right
they're
next to
between
us.
you and the door that Ainsley left through. So they're standing.
I go to reach at one.
The Phalanx grabs your hand.
Do not touch anything.
Is that a command? What's the parameters of that order?
You are not permitted to touch anything.
I'm not. Are you allowed to?
You will leave now.
I can't get a man drunk and then kick him out. Oh, God. All right, let's fuck off.
So as you start walking through, I'm going to get you all to make a perception check as you go through the hallway.
So -2 for Delvin. and
Yeah,
I.
whatever your perception remaining is.
2 successes.
I'm going to say this is challenge level 3.
Oh, you get
Ooh,
3.
Catalina got 3. Brick.
I really want to proceed. 2.
Brick got 2. Okay. So only Catalina sees
Great.
just a wisp through the window. A little face and a pair of eyes that, upon being noticed, quickly duck away. And it was very dark and really hard to notice. But you recognize
Was it Mikey?
that was Mikey. And this is a tall building. So he's...
I'm gonna. Are the Phalanx still watching us?
They're standing behind you all, sort of leading you to the exit.
Okay. I'm gonna nudge you as we're walking, kind of be like, your friend. Yeah.
He's not my friend's dead. And then I just collapse on the floor.
Oh,
I pick him up, not carry him out.
Yeah, I'll give you a roll for that.
I was being very dramatic to kind of pull the Phalanx's attention for a moment away from what Kat just said.
Okay.
I still pick you up.
That's fine.
Brick, are you worried about Medela?
Is this when we're outside or on the way out?
I'd say you're at this point. You're at the doors at the end of the feasting hall, and you're a short
I
walk
don't care
away
if
from
they
the
hear me.
exit.
It's fine.
I will do my best to do what Ainsley desires, and she will be safe.
You truly believe that?
I have to believe that.
Oh, you wait and see. I've got. Oh God, this is too funny.
What's...
As we're getting carried out, Delvin's clearly off his fucking chops.
The doors are opened, and the long staircase to the bottom lies in front of you, and the two Phalanx block the doorway as the three of you face your exit.
See you in a week, darlings.
We will see you.
Oh, you won't.
They stand unperturbed.
Head out.
Make your way down.
As soon as we're outside, I motion to jump out of Brick's arms.
I want to go... It's as soon as they're like the doors have closed and they're back in the mansion, I want to peep around the corner and see if I can find Mikey.
Just
Okay,
walk.
so when you're outside, so you're sort of on the street.
Mikey.
Roll a perception check.
Oh boy.
I'm going to make a destiny roll as well before you do this.
Sure.
Where are my destiny dice? Thank you.
Oh, that's bad.
Make
that was a
your
2.
Perception roll.
He's not going to be there.
He's not there. Doesn't matter what roll you got.
I feel it. Take it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Cool.
that's fine.
All right, you make your way back to
The something pony
you
inn?
two. You guys lead it. Yeah, you going. What do you want to do?
Yeah. I don't know about you, Delvin, but I'm feeling pretty... Yep.
What do you want me to say, Kat?
Nothing.
Hey, your dad's alive. That's a win.
Fucking great. This is all not how this was supposed to go.
No, that's what. It's called getting fingered on a job.
I'm just... Yeah, okay.
I think you thought a very different thing, and that's actually a saying, and it doesn't mean what your mind
Let's
took
move.
it to.
Let's keep going. Just let's not lose momentum.
I think we need to go.
It's a crime saying. Everyone's like, what? It means getting done in or getting like picked out when you're doing a job. Anyway, like fingered for the crime, like that.
Let's continue.
Delvin, I understand.
Cruel and unusual punishment.
I think we need to head back for the night.
Yeah. All right.
Are you not feeling...
Oh, I'm feeling compelled to trust our lovely wizard.
Yeah, you felt
Where are
it
you
too.
going to sleep tonight?
The bloody pony sparkling...
Fuck that. Who set us up with that accommodation?
Yeah, yes, that's a good point.
I'm
Hey,
going to find the biggest dive this city's got.
hey, you were right then.
Aye?
Well, you said that we shouldn't talk at the inn. The place we're staying.
I told
because
you.
The
It's
walls.
got walls have got ears, mate.
Yeah.
I was right about a few things, but I was wrong about too many of them. I didn't think they... Edgar, why?
Yeah, he didn't deserve that.
Oh, he did, but... I didn't expect it. He was always good to me.
That's
He's a real dick. That.
Oh, trust me, you didn't know him, but I loved him. I fucking loved that guy.
I'm going to make a destiny roll just for something unrelated. That was a 4. Okay, cool.
Yeah, let's just find an inn. Anywhere.
Oh, we better get that kid in the morning, though. He'll have a good night, though. Mansion for him. Bit of fun.
Well-
Anyway, we'd best not speak too loudly with this present company.
Yeah.
Isn't that right, Brick?
Yes.
Exactly.
Good words.
Well, it was an honor being able to trust you.
I'm going to make another destiny roll. So, sorry, I know I'm being super mysterious. That was for something specific that I now have churning in my head. This is for something else, very specific, that none of this
And they're
you'll
all
ever
going
find out.
really badly!
Come on, Mikey!
All right, cool. Okay.
Mickey, whatever your name is.
Mikey.
Mikey. We look for an inn.
Okay. I'm going to get you all to roll a perception check. I'm going to say to find... Oh, this is tough.
2 successes.
You know what? Oh, sorry, wrong roll. General knowledge. General knowledge, and remember you have -2 to your rolls.
General knowledge.
General knowledge.
1 success.
What's the
Okay.
challenge?
I'll say 2.
Heck yeah!
Bam!
Woo!
4 for Catalina.
Things are looking Millhouse.
Yeah, you actually, though you hadn't stayed. Yeah, sorry, you go, Brick.
Hey!
What?
Woo!
Well, you were actually the most observant on the way through the town. So that actually makes sense. Brick remembers when Delvin says to look for the dive in the city. Brick remembers one that he saw a couple of people sort of get pickpocketed around or whatever, but it was sort of like, halfway on the way in and a little bit through an alleyway. But you actually remember an inn that you recognized as an inn that people were parking horses in, that you actually feel confident you might be able to backtrack to. Catalina, you have stayed here once or twice before in the political district. So you do know a place that at least you and your Finnegan company have felt safe in the past. So you both know that as you discuss this and you're discussing where to go.
I saw an inn when we entered town that looked quite sketchy. Lots of pickpockets and rough-looking sorts.
I'm feeling that one.
I know a place that's a bit more upper class.
I've had enough comfort for one night.
Yeah, that's...
But if you want to go there, let's go.
Dive it is.
Okay. You make your way navigating through the streets on foot, I'm assuming,
Yeah.
because everything's been tucked away. And this is destiny roll for how that goes. 14. Okay. Reasonably uneventful. And you get there without too many false turns. You get a few shady eyes from a couple of grey guards on their walk. And at one point, roll a perception check. I'm gonna have to pick someone. That was a roll of 3. What is the order that you're traveling in?
Well,
I'm
I was
assuming you're
aligned.
leading. So Brick's leading the way. Who's at the back?
I'd say I'm next, walking side by side with Catalina.
Okay. All right, Catalina, roll perception check. Challenge level 3. Okay. Cool.
Keep going.
Someone walks past you through the night, sort of seeming drunk, and bumps into you. as you
Something's
keep walking
gone.
ahead. Yep.
Nah.
Huh?
I'm going to say if I'm leading them through a dodgy part of town, I'm trying to be perceptive. And
Okay, I'll let you roll a perception in addition to hers. Go on.
Wow.
So you got 3. You got 3. You met it.
Okay.
So you actually notice someone bump, and by the time they'd passed, you saw them eye you and sort of move past, but it was clear that they're sort of acting drunk, and you notice them bump into Catalina. So, excuse me. He keeps kind of stumbling along.
Check for your purse.
You're missing coin.
Yeah, I'm gonna run that fucking down.
Can this not get any worse?
Yeah, you gotta charge him.
Yeah,
so he's
100%.
like drunkenly stumbling up ahead. He's unattentive. So make your roll. What's your intention?
I'm literally going to lift him off the ground.
In what fashion? We can make it. Let's make a roll, and then you tell me what you aim at. But you have basically a free combat roll against a drunk, like peasanty dude.
No, don't.
I feel like throat is too aggressive. Can I just grab one of his arms and yank him up in the air?
100%. Yeah, just make you roll.
Like gripple?
Gripple?
Okay, so if it's not a combat roll, I'm going to say grapple.
What's grapple?
Grip.
Gripple.
Grip challenge. Grab him by the gripples. Challenge level.
I need that after
I say
that.
challenge level 4. It's lifting a.
Yeah, lifting a full-grown man by his arm. For sure.
1, 2,
4 successes.
Yeah.
Yay.
Smash it. So you just like, you grab the arm that is sort of pocketed and you just yank it. And I'm going to roll. This is a destiny roll for how well it goes for him.
Not
5. His arm is dislocated immediately because he was just not prepared. He was so off guard. And you pull him up and you're holding by the arm and he screams, "Ah, he's coming! What the And immediately, this is a destiny roll. See what guards are nearby and how that goes. Not
Badly.
great. There are 3 grey guards nearby that you see their heads turn as you're holding this man.
Watch her! And I point at the guy.
Yeah, I'd say the exact same thing and point him too.
Well, I don't know what China are you talking about?
So this man stole money from me.
You just stay holding him.
I'm just gonna like hold him towards the guards.
You're fucked now, mate.
One of the guards comes up, looks at him and is like, "What you say? And caught that easily."
Well, he might be a shit one. I don't know. I never met one.
One of the other grey guards is sort of approached by this point and says like, "All right, search him." And they like shift his clothes around a little bit and they're looking and they actually find a Watcher brand on his upper thigh when they pull like his pant leg down a little bit.
I thought they were meant to be good.
"Checks out," says one of the guards. Like, "Very well."
Can we get our coin back?
With a little shake, it just drops and yeah, you easily recollect the coin and they immediately and aggressively apprehend this person. And they turn to you and like, "That's the first I've ever seen it happen like that," says one of the grey guards.
Yeah, he's a...
They must be desperate for recruits.
Well,
You've been doing a good job hanging them.
Thank you for your diligence.
thank you for helping us do our job. This Watcher will be dead by tomorrow evening. We'll make sure to make a show of it.
Hopefully you can get some more of them by then.
Well, stick around. You're welcome to keep contributing. That was mighty helpful.
I just might.
He looks at Brick and says, "Have you ever thought about a career in the guard?"
My service belongs to another.
"Very well. Something to think about." And they sort of go on their way. And this man is like screaming and moaning in pain and horror now that he knows he's going to die by the next sunset.
Them's the breaks, buddy. Thank you, Brick.
And I feel nothing.
You're welcome.
You both get to the inn. It's a dive. It's not great. And it's clear that it's this person's sort of company that probably dwells in there. So you're going to want to watch your back and be careful as you rest.
I kind of like secure everything a bit more on myself now, having almost been pickpocketed.
Yeah. A one-armed barkeep, sort of tavern keeper, sort of walks up and says, "In late then? You don't look like the sort to come to a place like this. You look like you're from the noble district."
I put down some coin, like a decent amount, and say, "And you're not the kind to ask questions."
"Never was," he said, maintaining eye contact as he pulls him over. "I'm assuming you'll want the executive suite then."
Thank you.
"Sort you out." And he walks off and he nods over to a barmaid who comes along and says, "I'll show you to your room then. Up this way." And leads you up the stairs.
Great.
Okay.
And Catalina
you spend
feels
the night.
a little sadness in her heart that Medela's not there anymore.
Yeah.
So, we're in the inn.
I'm going to barricade the door.
I'm not going to bed yet.
Oh, do we all want to just...
I was going to say, okay. So as far as the night goes, now you are sedated. It will wear
Yeah.
off, but it will take the evening to wear off.
Mm-hmm.
And And as far as your recharging goes, Catalina would risk being overheard. You're welcome to do that if you want to take that risk. And
I'm not
Delvin,
comfy
I'm
enough.
not going
I
to give
know.
you. You don't
I'm
get the
not
roll.
comfy enough.
Yeah,
I
sorry,
know.
buddy.
That's where I need to be right now.
Yep. All right.
So we're not going to bed yet, though. I'm assuming.
No.
It is one big room. So there's a few different beds and there's sort of some walled areas or whatever, but they've given you, like, it's not lush. It's pretty scrappy.
That's-
There's a bunk, but it's the top, room in the building.
So Brick will barricade the door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Barricade any door and any window.
Are we? I'm in the bar. Oh, I ain't going.
Oh, I
You're
thought
not
we were all
going to-
gonna.
No,
okay.
I'm not going. I'm sitting in the bar for a bit.
Oh, well then I have to sit with you.
Okay.
Why? Okay, because I feel like we got shit to discuss.
Yeah, probably.
And I feel
At
like
the bar?
Sure.
It's up to you.
Are we talking about this? Yeah, at the bar, I get a beer. Are we talking about this tonight or in the morning?
I mean, I kind of look around. I assume everyone's got other stuff on their mind. Like, no one's really paying attention to
There's
it.
like a couple of half-conscious people.
Yeah.
And one person like singing to themselves in the corner
Yeah.
of the room, sort of rocking back and forth.
Yeah, this is fine. I kind of like wipe the beer that's been spilt onto the bar, like kind of put my arms up.
I just sink my arms into it, grab a beer, start drinking. Your father, then?
Your mother.
Low.
Seems he's got us, as you probably would put it, by the balls.
I'd say already geldered.
Roll a perception check.
Both or everyone? Or...
Just anyone.
Four
Everyone.
successes
Four
out
successes.
of 4, baby.
Delvin's weirdly alert, but not as alert as
4.
Brick.
No, I got 4.
That's only a one.
Delvin was the only one that noticed? Or did
I got 4. What
Oh,
was-
no, and he only got one. Okay. There's someone who's a little drunk, but they're leaving the bar. But you all notice, like, he doesn't look competent or clever or anything, but he looks like he's trying to not be noticed leaving the bar.
Do we know them? Or is it just a
No,
dude?
no, it's just a dude.
Do I care?
I don't think it matters, to be honest. If this guy's that well connected, he knows we're here.
Yeah, I feel like we're pretty well.
Cool.
You know what? Delvin gets off the bar and walks over to this guy as he's sidling out because I noticed him.
And
G'day, mate.
he's like standing in the open doorway about to walk out. It's like, oh, good day. And he sort of goes to continue.
I say, oh, leaving so soon?
Yeah, I've had enough to drink.
You look mighty suspicious, mate.
You make a habit of talking to strangers. I've got business, so...
When I'm in this kind of mood, I do.
Good evening, sir. And he goes to walk off.
I grab him by the arm.
Okay.
Just going to say, if Delvin walked up, I'm following him. Like,
He stops, clears his throat, turns to you and says, how can I help you?
You were watching us.
Aye.
Who are you reporting to?
Not allowed to say.
Well, seeing as I've got you, I don't know.
He looks confused.
I'm feeling confused.
I'm gonna, seeing you talk to this man for a while, I'm gonna walk up to the guy. Say, evening.
What?
Did you hear that petrified scream outside just a few minutes ago? My friend here did that. If you don't give us the information that we're after, might be a few more screams tonight. Why are you here?
This is where I drink.
You're lying.
I can't.
I'm already quite pissed off. You don't want to piss me off more.
Okay. Oh, I'm gonna destiny roll. Okay. Okay. He said to speak to you anyway. I don't want to. Just don't tell him I said anything, because then I'll get in trouble for speaking. There's a Felton trader said something about his assistant wanted to have his connections in this town inform him when they found a party of your description. Would never in a million years imagine you'd walk right into my local dwelling, but
Pamble.
roll a perception check. Challenge level 2.
4 successes.
It's exactly Pemble. It's, yeah.
And I go, you go and you tell him exactly where we are. You had no trouble with us.
Okay. And he stumbles and he pelts it.
I take it that was a good outcome for once.
Pemble's Edgar's man. If he wants to talk to us, well, that's someone just as pissed off as Ainsley as me. I hope. Well, they were close. They were damn close.
Yeah.
But are we done for tonight? I'm feeling foggy.
Yeah, me too. There's nothing that really can be done tonight, I suppose.
No. Well, I've got one bit of business to attend to.
And what would that be?
Is there anyone that looks aggressive in this bar or easily provoked?
Oh my God. Look, I'm going to say by this point it's past midnight and these are early drinkers. So they all, even that guy who you stumbled across was probably one of the more competent ones who had enough.
I'm not looking for confident or competent. I'm looking for drunk and disorderly.
I'm going to roll a destiny for that. Okay, there's one. There's one UI offers provocable.
Okay.
Yep.
I hand my beer. I like neck the rest of my beer, hand it over, and roll my just the bottom of my sleeves up a little bit, and then I walk over to this guy and just push him on the back of the shoulder.
Hey, leave a man to his drink.
I don't like much the look of you, you grating piece of shit.
All right, combat.
Nah.
Huh?
I'm going to pull Dalvin away.
Okay, what are you doing?
I'm going to pick him up and pull him away.
All right. You have one reflex, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I also have
You
one.
see this person going to swing a punch just out of random outrage, and you have the. I'm going to get you to roll a grip check, just challenge level 2. To pull him out of the way of the trajectory of this punch. Yep, you succeed. And you pull him and he's just like, he misses the swing. He was a big fella. He's bigger than Delvin, but not as big as you. And you yank him back.
Dalvin.
You yank Delvin back, and this guy sort of stumbles and sort of stands up and is like,
What are you doing coming into my pub and picking a fight anyway? What's the meaning of this?
he's drunk and like confused and angry.
I just stare at Brick.
I apologize. My friend has had a very long and tiring day.
Haven't we all?
I order you to go to bed.
I have been tasked with your protection, which overrules that.
You were asked to follow my orders, not to protect me.
I was asked to do both.
I swing a punch at the guy.
I stop it.
I'm gonna get out of your fucking grip, bitch!
All right. So you're swinging?
Yeah.
You got to attack this guy.
Yep.
Okay. What's your reflex?
1.
One.
All right, roll off, both of you.
4.
You got 4? Mm-hmm. Okay. You declare first, Brick.
I'm going to pick him up.
Delvin.
Yes.
Okay, so you, Delvin, see that he's going to pick you up.
I would like to dodge out of that.
Okay, I'm going to get you to roll a grip check and you to roll a athletics check to dodge it.
Is it versus?
I'm gonna
lose.
Well, I'm actually going to say because you have the advantage here. I'm going to give.
Can you
give
acrobatics? Because I'm trying to
Yeah. Okay.
duck and weave.
Cool. Acrobatics, and I'll let you have the advantage to your roll.
All 3 dice because I've got -2 because we're both poisoned.
And I'm gonna.
You didn't get poisoned?
Endurance.
No, he didn't.
Oh,
No.
okay. Whee! 1 success.
Hey, with my rolls, it's easy. Either I dominate you or I get nothing.
2 successes. You almost failed. That's amazing.
I was going to give him a disadvantage. Anyways, he picks you up. Brick picks you up like when you're about to like swing at this guy and dodge past Brick's grab.
And I walk away.
Apologies. Enjoy your night.
This dude just looks angry and confused. His beetroot red and like just like the man can't get drunk in peace. And he goes to walk out. It's like, I'm going to the other tavern. And he walks up. What do you do?
I get carried.
Okay. Take you up to the room, and you all head up to the room. How do you want to proceed with the evening?
It depends what Brick does with me.
I put you down in the room.
This is adorable.
It was very good.
What were you trying to achieve?
It's my business.
Yeah, it really is, eh? Well, I'm going to do my business and go to sleep. Screw this night. And Catalina goes and falls asleep in bed.
Yep.
I work on barricading the doors.
You barricade the doors
Yep.
quite successfully. Though it is a bit of a grotty place, the windows are at least pretty well bloody shut. It's used to people trying to break or enter or steal or whatever. So it's pretty well reinforced. There are even some bars on the windows. Not all of them, but you know, it's all pretty well locked up. Now, if you'll allow a bit of time to pass, after about 3 hours, and you might be sort of hazy or tired or whatever, you hear a few distant creaks. Catalina, you're fast asleep. Brick and Delvin, how have you spent 4 hours? Have you...
Staring at Brick.
I understand your frustration, but I cannot let you come to harm's way.
I know your track record, mate. You'll fall asleep before me.
Both of you roll an endurance check. Now, this isn't to see if you stay awake. It's just to both...
Are we still fogged or are we got our...
You're still fogged. I'm going to say you have -1.
-1.
It's,
3 dice. 1
all right,
success.
cool. I was going to say challenge number 1 to stay awake just because you're tired.
Yep.
Yeah, you're awake. Holy crap, you're awake.
How did you ever fail that?
That's like 6 successes.
How do you ever
You
fail
are just
that?
like unblinking, like eyes sharp and open and watching every inch of his...
Did you want to fight?
Aye. Someone my own size, though.
You can hit me. I will not hit you back.
Well, then I'm not really getting what I want, am I?
I can hit you if you want.
There's a
I don't want
soft,
to die, mate.
There's a soft tap at the door in a rhythm that you, Delvin, actually recognize.
May I get the door, sir?
I will get it.
Go right ahead, mate.
Yeah, I open the door.
After a whole bunch of scraping and dragging, after 10 minutes, you finally clear the doorway and you meet Pemble.
I love him!
This is Pemble. We have a new portrait. Having portraits is fun.
Yay.
And here he is. Let's take that in. You're welcome, podcast listeners. And Pemble.
Do I know him?
Yes. So
Yeah,
you recognize him as the man who
Yep.
met you at the burning wasteland of the
Yep.
opening episode. The man who pushed Edgar's wheelchair, and he looks wild. Like he is distraught and sweaty and covered in. He's just got some dirt and scratches. It looks like he's been through a whole world of pain.
I walk straight up and attempt to push, like, gently push past Breck.
To leave the room?
No, to head straight to Pemble.
Oh no, I let Pemble in if I know him.
I thought
Delvin
I'd never see you alive.
doesn't say anything
See you alive. He's northern. I thought I'd never see you alive.
and embraces him.
Yeah, he hugs thumpingly, just like, and he bursts into tears. He weeps, and Delvin, you actually know that he is Edgar's nephew, so you know he's close to Edgar, and he just like shaking. You've never seen him. He was always the composer one, the one that held up his uncle. It's like he never deserved it like that.
Don't say too much, my friend.
You're right.
We're not in...
There's eyes all around in this place.
And ears right next to us.
You're right. I should come in. May I?
Oh, well,
Please.
he's the ears. And I point at, ear. And I point at Brick. Ainsley owns him. He's my new handler.
Now listen, I can't stay long. I'd like to talk in more open circumstances. I think Catalina's signaling that. Would you guys wake her, or would you just not?
I'm not waking
Yeah.
her.
Catalina's
Sorry,
just a heavy
Catalina.
snorer.
You know
Hey,
what?
drunk sleeping is awful.
Roll a perception check to see if you notice stirrings and wake up. I'm going to say challenge level 3. You still have a -1. Fail.
Yep.
You're fast asleep. Now, I'm surprised I made it into this town alive, I'll be honest. So I don't think it'd be wise if I see you again in here. But after I heard word that you were found, I knew I had to try. And I made it. I hope I make it back out again. Point is, Edgar's been doing some digging. I've got some information for you. I can give you more in depth later. But I think we have a lot we can inform each other with. Suffice it to say, I think there's some information here that might be of help. Your eyes only, you understand?
I understand.
And he hands over some papers. Very, like, well sealed and wrapped up and stuff.
Where will you go, Pemble?
I'll be outside the town wall. You tell me what side of the gate, and I'll be about 4 miles distant from it.
I look at Catalina. The name of her mother's fort that was a day away to the northeast. Is that the direction? Bartle Keep?
Bartwell Keep, yeah.
Bartwell Keep?
Yep.
Was that to the northeast? way?
That's towards IRONSPIRE.
Yeah, like that way, though.
Yeah.
Or is it just east?
Straight east.
Ah.
Yeah. He does lean in and say, now, you wanted a little information on that one. He sort of nods over at Catalina in the bed. You really want to be a part of this, I can tell.
No, it's atmospheric.
He goes, I'm sure you've probably heard from Ainsley by this point that her father's alive, been alive all along. He's in the middle of being transported. He could be intercepted. Were that a priority? Probably would expose the betrayal if Ainsley were to ever find out.
Her father from my mother doesn't sound a good trade.
Of course not.
It's
It's just worth knowing.
He's got my mum. Who the fuck goes after someone's mum?
There are far too many things that were left unknown. But this man, don't test him. I know we've got connections that we could work on, but I think this is a project. This ain't an impulse. Control your impulses, Delvin.
But I'm really good at impulses.
Not with this one, you ain't. There's a reason he got to where he is. But I have a feeling I could help.
I think in this one he's going to be able to outbuy me anyway.
He'll out everything you unless we plan carefully.
And that's why Eastgate.
Eastgate it is.
She, and I reference Cat obviously, has connections that might even make his connections feel weak. The top of the Thinisian Tower is a pretty high peak, even by IRONSPIRE standards.
I'd never imagined I'd be involved in such interwoven complexities without Edgar to help me understand it all. I'll do what I can. I'll see you 4 miles east of the East Gate tomorrow. 2 hours after sunrise.
I can do that. Stay safe.
I hope to see you soon, Delvin. And he embraces you again.
I can't lose another friend. I've got precious few of them.
And he hugs tight. You've known Pemble for a long time.
Yeah.
Half your life. And he leaves without another word.
And then I go to bed.
And that's the end of our chapter. Yay! Wasn't that fun? That was fun. You know what's also going to be fun? Seeing everyone's reaction in the after party.
You jerk.
I'm sorry.
Thank you to all of our patrons. Wait. There they are. There they are, bloody patrons. Who had fun? This was fun.
This was an intense, bloody episode.
What a fun adventure. We still need to update the thing.
do.
Oh no, we
can
need a
talk to him
button. We need a
on
button
Thursday.
to update it.
We
Yeah,
do.
he'll see it. He'll see it in person and be like, oh, the shame. Anyways,
Time blink.
Time Blink, the Dark Fox.
Professor X.
Tickle Duck. Rainire, your taste is impeccable.
Earth Angel Star.
Oh, Nick, I admire your
AJ
presence.
Macy.
What an
Thanks, everyone.
enjoyable cultural experience we've all had
Oh,
tonight.
you can go fuck yourself.
This is so much fun, and I can't wait till next week. Do you feel bad for like forcing Delvin to sit and behave himself?
Yeah.
Put baby
I
in the
did not
corner.
enjoy it. I feel terrible.
See you next week, guys.
Yeah, we'll see you guys later.